begins to grow loud. I am aware that you are not sitting here chatting. You sit here and attempt to vent, Vanessa. Broke you for being a liar. Then there is the back and forth between Heard and Vanessa. You won't believe what just happened behind. Closed doors, Vanessa, I told her. When Evelyn revealed Vanessa's secret baby truth, Jackie bounded off the set. Tension crackled as cameras panned. When Evelyn's shaking arms revealed years of whispered secrets and late-night phone calls that no one had anticipated, the whispers escalated to gasps. There was electricity in the air. In a panic, producers whispered. Fans at home began to speculate, while assistants blinked in astonished stillness. Jackie's countenance changed from shock to rage, and emotions were running hot. In a heartbeat, her poise broke. Although there had been murmurs for weeks regarding Vanessa's unexplained absences, nobody had anticipated the backstory. Loyalty is strained, and connections are put to the test as a result of this shocking confession reverberating throughout the studio. The closest friends are picking sides, leaving the family split. Is Vanessa concealing a baby, or is there a more sinister secret that is just waiting to be revealed? Sometimes the hardest revelations come from the people you trust the most, as Evelyn's voice even cracked under the pressure. Fans are taken aback. The question on everyone's mind is straightforward, and social media is fire. What follows? Hold on tight, for this is just the start of a story that will alter your entire perspective. The anxiety in the green room was palpable as the cameras stopped rolling following Evelyn's statement. Like a ticking clock indicating impending catastrophe, Jackie strode back and forth while her heels clicked against the linoleum floor. Her eyes darted between crew workers shooting every instant of her losing her composure and producers who avoided her sight as she shook her hand and combed her hair. She was shocked by what she had just heard. It's possible that Vanessa, her childhood friend and collaborator on numerous projects, has been concealing a baby all along. How are you? Able to hide this from me? Jackie looked into a cosmetics mirror, her lower lip trembling and her voice cracking. Every line of mascara that her teardrops had left on her was illuminated by the lights surrounding it, which sparkled like tiny suns. Cheeks. Together, we've experienced everything. We experienced heartbreaks, celebrations, auditions, and ... She never mentioned having a child at all. With her arms folded and her face unreadable, Evelyn hovered close by. As she recalled searching Vanessa's phone late at night and discovering charming but panicked voicemails from a number Jackie didn't recognize, tagged, "Mama," she gulped hard. She had been the one to break the news, her own hands shaking. She felt simultaneously like a hero and a traitor in that moment. Whispering, "I'm sorry, Jackie," Evelyn said. Kia, the production assistant, observed Vanessa sneaking out during the break, but I didn't want to believe it either. She grabbed her phone, heard her discussing diaper changes and feeding schedules. Guilt flared in Evelyn's eyes. "I didn't intend for you to learn this way." A producer in a scruffy shirt screamed Jackie's name as the door sprang wide as her jaw tightened. "We need you back on set in 5 minutes, Jackie." The words resembled chalkboard nails. Jackie averted her gaze, unwilling to pretend that everything was all right and to force a grin back onto her face. The set was alive with murmuring outside. Every crease in Jackie's forehead was captured by the softly rolling cameras. Vanessa pretended to be adjusting her hair while sitting in makeup, but her hand was shaking so much that she almost dropped the curling iron. Evelyn stood rigidly across from her, avoiding eye contact. Assistants murmured behind them that Vanessa had changed several times this morning. She held a loose jacket in her hand that would have concealed her rounded stomach. Jackie went back to her place, feeling the weight of the stairs. She made herself sit. Her entire body was screaming to run. Jackie's heart thumped as though she might have a heart attack on live television when the director called for action. Her prepared words sounded empty as she opened her mouth to speak. Slice. "Jackie, are you okay?" the director yelled, and assistants hurried in carrying tissues and water bottles. Overhead, electric lights buzzed like a questioning bulb. In an attempt to smooth the tremble in her voice, Jackie downed her bottle in a single sip. "I'm all right," she said. Although, the set lights dimmed slightly, providing a temporary cloak of shadows, and Jackie stood and walked toward the corner of the stage alone, breathing in and out, counting the seconds until the next scene. Her voice, sounded distant as if coming from underwater, and she looked at Vanessa, whose eyes were downcast. Jackie wanted to lash out and demand the truth in front of everyone, but a small voice in her head whispered that confrontation here would only lead to chaos. Her mind replayed every conversation she had with Vanessa, including the excited texts she had exchanged about a potential photo shoot, the abrupt doctor's appointment that vanished without warning, and the mysterious hospital bracelet she had once seen on her wrist. Jackie muttered to herself, "What were you hiding, Vanessa?" She tilted her head, picturing Vanessa whispering lullabies to a baby in some secret room she'd built. In her apartment, jealousy and betrayal twisted inside her chest. Jealousy that Vanessa had experienced a joy that Jackie was unaware of. Betrayal that her closest friend had planned a lie. A small group of friends huddled down the hall near the catering table, speaking in low voices and looking worriedly toward the set. Mariah, who had been Vanessa's maid of honor and had listened to her sob over fertility struggles just months ago, clenching her mouth in handcuffs. Jackie muttered, "I feel used," as if I were a prop in her narrative. She pressed her palm against the cool metal of a lighting rig, grounding herself as reality threatened to tilt. She remembered a conversation from last week when Vanessa had begged her to attend a late-night event, citing urgent career networking. Instead, Vanessa had slipped out early, leaving Jackie to field awkward questions about her abrupt departure. The scene resumed, and Jackie returned to her place. She pressed her face into the mask of professionalism, plastering on a smile hollow, as a cave. Cameras rolled in as Vanessa approached, initiating a staged argument that now felt painfully real. Vanessa's voice wavered as she started to speak. "Jackie?" Vanessa began, eyes brimming with tears that mirrored Jackie's own. "I never intended to cause you harm. I felt afraid." She stepped closer, her voice barely above a whisper, and her words trembled. The crew held their breath. Jackie's heart tightened. She wanted to scream at Vanessa to own up, but she also felt sorry for the friend she used to know. Their staged confrontation blurred with real emotion at that moment. Vanessa swallowed, looking at the floor, and confessed in a broken whisper that she had given birth 6 months prior and placed the baby in temporary care with her sister while she concentrated on re-establishing her career after a horrible breakup. The set fell silent this time. The microphones hanging overhead caught every tremor in Vanessa's voice, and even the director froze, mouth open, realizing the genuineness of the moment. Jackie's eyes welled with tears as the truth hit her like a wave, and the assistant director called for a break, but nobody moved. The crew exchanged nervous looks, not sure whether to continue filming or intervene, and a cameraman outside zoomed in on the exchange, knowing that this was the kind of uncut footage that would go viral. Online. One expected an on-camera confession, and fans watching the live stream back home paused, rewound, and replayed social media with clips of Vanessa's trembling admission. Jackie raised her head, her hair falling in damp strands around her face, and she said softly, "I wish you'd trusted me." Her voice trembled with a mixture of hurt, anger, and love, and Vanessa nodded, unable to meet her gaze, and her tears were streaming freely. The family was split, and nobody knew if they would ever mend the cracks that resulted from the incident. The set remained eerily quiet as Jackie and Vanessa sat side by side, the echoes of their friendships unraveling, hanging heavy in the air. The cameras continued to roll, capturing every raw tear and broken promise. When the producer frantically waved for silence, the cameras continued to roll, ready to reveal this explosive chapter to the world. Assistants rushed to clear the area, ushering crew members out of the way so Vanessa and Jackie could have a moment off camera, but the rumors became louder. Now what is Jackie going to do? Through the rafters, it bounced. Lena, Vanessa's sister, appeared abruptly at the edge of the set, her face a mixture of resolution and terror. She came up to Vanessa holding a crumpled hospital bracelet and said, "You have to tell them," in a trembling voice. As she gripped the bracelet, Vanessa's hands shook. "He's been asking for you." She murmured, "I'm not ready," as tears trickled down her cheeks. The producers looked at each other anxiously. They are torn between preserving their cast from total collapse and documenting this treasure trove of unfiltered emotion. total collapse. Evelyn lingered close by, her face furrowed with guilt. She had no intention of setting a powder keg on fire. For once, all she wanted to do was encourage Vanessa. She now observed Vanessa's secrets edging out into the open and destroying trust like a piece of glass. Her voice was shaking as she took a step forward. "Please, Vanessa. If I went too far, I apologize." Vanessa's red-rimmed, enraged eyes sprang to attention. "I apologize for your betrayal." She inhaled sharply, as though every word were a lifetime of agony. "Without asking, you pulled my life onto this stage." Evelyn took a swallow. "You deserved it, in my opinion. The assistants." As the crew shifted uneasily, I believed her voice broke, and she went silent, embarrassed. Jackie moved to a peaceful nook behind the lighting rig to avoid the commotion. She covered her face with her hands, and for the first time, she started crying. With each lie, Vanessa seemed to have sucked away fragments of her soul, leaving her feeling empty. Her phone was constantly buzzing, with notifications popping with messages from both friends and fans. "Are you okay? We saw everything. We love you, Jackie," she scribbled in a quick response since her heart was racing. Already, social media was ablaze. Ours trending in a matter of minutes. Jackie leaves, and Vanessa is the secret baby. Jackie closed her eyes and visualized the headlines that would by morning dominate gossip blogs. New theories emerged with each stroke. Was the infant real? Was Evelyn intentionally leaking? Is a secret tape present? She was in danger of drowning in the deluge of inquiries. As makeup professionals whispered about Rhea playing blush to hide her tear-streaked cheeks, Vanessa tried to regain her composure back on set. Her voice was no more than a whisper as she pressed her hands into her lap. "I believed I could manage, on my own." She turned to face the director, who gave her a hesitant nod. "You let me know when you need to stop, but we'll keep going." Vanessa took a trembling breath and straightened her back. Her voice was full of emotion as she started. "I need everyone to understand why I lied. I was scared on the day my son was born. After a tumultuous split, I was unable to deal with the stigma associated with being a single mother in this field." In order to capture every detail of her confession, assistants rushed in to adjust the camera. Suddenly, the assistant director grabbed Vanessa on the shoulder and muttered, "We have company." Vanessa noticed a tall person stepping onto the stage X through the blur of lights. The baby's father is Marcus. With his eyes flaming and his jaw tightened, he strode forward. "You believe that you can conceal him and then simply come here and beg for pity?" His voice reverberated off the walls of the warehouse as he demanded. Unsure of whether to step in, the crew members froze. Marcus held up a folder. "I produced documentation that I had been providing for him since birth, along with paternity paperwork. When I needed you, where were you?" Vanessa winced, covering her eyes as if she had been hit by sunshine. Their tension was like electricity crackling between them. A dot. Jackie cautiously made her way back to the middle of the stage after becoming aware of the disturbance. Without thinking, she moved to stand between Vanessa and Marcus. In spite of her personal anguish, her protective instinct kicked in. "Enough," she murmured in a forceful yet hushed voice. "We don't deal with family issues like this." Marcus's shoulders relaxed a little, but he continued to look at Vanessa. "Don't defend her," he yelled. "You were not fully aware of it." Evelyn took a step forward, heaving her chest. These are her secrets and her decisions. This is her platform to talk, which is why we're here. Marcus sighed, then let out a breath as if he were clearing his lungs of poison. "Fine," he muttered, "but I'm here for my son." As the cameras pivoted to capture the family standoff, Mariah and Kia huddled near catering, their faces pale. Mariah whispered, "This is getting out of hand. What if we are shut off by the network? Away." Kia shook her head and said, "It's too late for damage control. The story is live." They watched in horror as Vanessa's world fell apart in real time, with assistants updating social media accounts and posting raw footage that would garner views in a matter of seconds. The line between empathy and exploitation became hazy, leaving everyone wondering who would survive. Vanessa's voice broke as she addressed the camera directly, her lips quivering. I know I hurt people I love, she said, her lips quivering. But I did it because I thought it was best for him. I needed to protect him from the chaos, from the rumors. She looked at Marcus, who nodded, her expression softening. Jackie placed a gentle hand on Vanessa's shoulder, offering silent support. The crew exhaled collectively, sensing a fragile peace settling over the set. Yet beneath that calm lay a storm of unresolved emotions, betrayal, guilt, anger, and the bittersweet hope of forgiveness. Just as the scene seemed to reach a tentative resolution, a runner dashed onto the set, clutching an envelope stamped urgent. She approached the director, whispering into his ear. The director frowned, then pocketed the envelope and addressed the cast. We're going to take a brief break. Everyone clear the floor. As the cast stepped aside, Marcus opened the envelope, pulling out a single sheet of paper. His eyes widened. Vanessa. And Jackie leaned in, breath caught, and the camera operator zoomed in, capturing the moment the paternity test results met their eyes. The only thing that was certain was that the next revelation would be even more explosive. As Marcus unfolded the paper, his eyes scanning every line, a silence fell over the cavernous set, and the paper trembled in Marcus's hand like a fragile leaf caught in a storm. It's not his, he whispered, voice a strangled gasp. The revelation landed like a bomb, shattering the fragile piece they'd just begun to stitch together. Vanessa's lips parted in a quiet scream as she flinched as if it were stinging. Jackie's breath hitched. Rushing back are memories of every moment since the first hint of a secret. Vanessa's hushed lullabies in the pre-hall, her flurry of phone calls, the evenings of hushed excuses and apologies. She glanced at Marcus, uncertainty and betrayal illuminating her eyes. Her voice was hardly more than a trembling as she queried, "What do you mean not his?" Marcus ran a hand through his hair, grasping the table for strength. This test indicates that I am not the biological father. The specimen was, they say it's tainted, but the outcome is obvious. I own her, but you don't. In the hush, his words, twisted and hung in the air. Uncertain of whether to step in or let the drama unfold, assistants exchanged nervous glances. Vanessa's knees gave way and she fell to the ground, gripping the stage's edge as if she were clinging to it. Tears fell freely and uncontrollably down her face. "It's not true," she whispered. "It can't be." She sent a beseeching glance at Marcus. Marcus's jaw said, "Please say it's wrong," tightened, as if evidence might somehow verify the sorrow on Vanessa's face. He held up the papers once more and said, "You have every right to deny it, but the lab is reputable." As if entering a minefield, Evelyn approached cautiously. She put a soft hand on Vanessa's shoulder while kneeling next to her. "We'll get a second test," she murmured quietly, regretting what she had done. Jackie stood there, caught between pity and rage, saying, "We'll settle this up." Her world had tilted on its axis, and she sought to find stable ground. "How could you have allowed this to occur?" she inquired. Vanessa's voice was tremulous and low. "You've told how many lies?" Vanessa's eyes were red and puffy when she gazed up. She whispered, "I didn't mean for it to go this far. I believed I could manage it. I believed I could shield him from the mayhem." At that moment, Lena reappeared with her phone in her hand. She said, "You need to see this," in a pressing tone. Vanessa's hands were shaking when she pressed a video clip into them. Grainy on-screen video captured Vanessa giggling while holding a baby wrapped in a pink blanket at a party 2 months prior. Blanket. A stranger's face was hidden by shadows as the camera panned to show a man standing next to her. Vanessa's free hand extended, its fingers familiarly grazing his arm. Vanessa's hand shot to her mouth as she gasped. "That's not Marcus," she said in a broken whisper. "Someone else." As the ramifications set in, the room whirled. Marcus's fists clenched. His fury flared as he shouted, "Who is he?" Vanessa shook her head and started crying. "Who is this?" she asked. She confessed, "I don't know his name. He was someone I met during a charity event. I didn't plan for it to go this far. I thought I could fix it before anyone found out." She looked desperate at Jackie. "Never intended to cause you harm." Jackie felt her heart fracture all over again. She put an arm around Vanessa's trembling shoulders and slid to a seat next to her. She questioned, "Why didn't you tell me? Together, we could have faced it." Sobbing uncontrollably, Vanessa buried her face in Jackie's chest. She muttered, "I was afraid you'd hate me. I was afraid you would go." The cameras panned the scene to see the reunited buddies. Suffocating and electric, the tension coils in the air. Wondering how much of this uncut footage they could show before being forced to cut due to exploitation concerns, producers whispered into headsets. Clips of the new twist were all over the internet, and social media notifications were ringing non-stop. Fans made wild guesses. The mystery man is who? Does Vanessa lie a lot? Will Jackie pardon her? Evelyn's eyes darted around the set as she clicked her tongue softly. She crinkled her brow in concern as she walked up to the director. "I think we should put this on hold," she said softly. "We are in a hazardous situation." Slowly nodding, the director kept his gaze on the drama that was developing. "We'll take 10, he said. Voice steady. Voice steady. As the crew dispersed, Vanessa, Jackie, Marcus, and Evelyn remained huddled under the bright lights. The temporary break felt like a prison cell, trapping them in a loop of guilt and unanswered questions. Vanessa wiped her face, voice. "I have to find him," she declared. "I have to know who my son really is." Jackie squeezed her hand. "We'll help," she said firmly, surprising herself with a conviction in her voice. Marcus rounded on her eyes narrowed. "They're still on his side?" he asked, hurt flashing across his face. After all this betrayal, Jackie met, his gaze unwavering. "I'm on the side of truth," she replied, "and I'll stand by the baby no matter what." For a moment, quiet prevailed, broken only by the distant hum of lights. Then Vanessa stood, resolution stiffening her features. She brushed past Marcus's determination in her stride. "I'm going to get answers," she said, voice clear. "And when I do, I'll face all of you." With that, she strode off the set, leaving Jackie and Marcus staring after her. Evelyn hesitated. Then followed guilt and hope wearing in her heart. Jackie remained seated, watching them go, tears glinting on her lashes. In that charged silence, she whispered to the empty stage, "This isn't over." The cameras lingered for a beat before the director called to action again. The lights brightened, the set buzzed back to life, and life imitated art in its most devastating form. The next chapter of this saga was already taking shape, and no one on that set could predict the storm that awaited them. When Vanessa stepped off the set, her heels clicking like a metronome, marking each heartbeat, the air outside, the studio doors felt icier than the desert night. She paused under a flickering exit sign, trying to steady herself against the wall. Marcus and Evelyn fell in beside her, their faces grave. Jacqueline, still breathing hard from the confrontation, ducked into the shadow of an alcove. The faint hum of camera equipment drifted through the corridor, a reminder that even now, millions of eyes were watching. "I need to know the truth," Vanessa whispered, voice raw. She pressed a trembling hand to her abdomen where uncertainty churned like a storm. "I can't live with lies anymore." Marcus glanced at her, pain and love flickering across his features. "Let's get that DNA test done properly," he said softly. "No more contaminated samples, no more secrets." Evelyn nodded, guilt softened by determination. "I'll set it up," she promised, "first thing tomorrow. We'll be with you every step of the way." They moved down the hallway toward a small cherrywood office where the network's legal team had set up a temporary station. Behind its frosted glass, men in navy suits consulted clipboards and tablets. Assistants hovered, ready to field messages. That would define the next headline. Vanessa closed her eyes and inhaled, trying to draw courage from somewhere deep. She had rehearsed this moment 1,000 times in her mind, but nothing could prepare her for the vulnerability of facing it in real life. Inside the office, legal counsel offered a seat and a stack of forms. Vanessa sank into a chair, the leather cool beneath her. Marcus sat across from her, his hand outstretched on the desk. "I believe in you," he said quietly. "We'll get the answers." Evelyn hovered by the door, arms crossed. "So sorry," she breathed. For everything, Vanessa met her gaze, pain mirrored in her eyes. "You didn't ruin my life," she replied. "You just forced me to stop hiding." As Vanessa signed the release forms, for the DNA test, the network's tech crew streamed the moment to a private channel for executives to monitor. Producers exchanged nods. This was the kind of unscripted authenticity advertisers craved. Outside the office windows, the city lights twinkled, a silent audience unaware of the tempest brewing inside. Marcus took Vanessa to a tiny studio where a technician and a nurse were waiting with sterile vials and swabs after the paperwork was finished. Vanessa felt a surge of nerves under the harsh fluorescent lights as the swab touched the inside of her cheek. She closed her eyes and let out a sigh of relief when it was finished. Marcus followed, yielding his own sample. Their hands brushed as they handed the vials back to the nurse, a small gesture of solidarity and chaos. Once the samples were secured, Vanessa and Marcus were escorted to a private waiting lounge with plush sofas and a single coffee table. Evelyn followed with bottled water and tissues. The three of them relaxed into uneasy stillness, each engrossed in their thoughts. Vanessa traced invisible patterns on the table surface, wondering how a simple truth could have spiraled into destruction. "We'll get the results in 48 hours, the technician said before leaving the room. "You'll be the first to know." With that, she closed the door, leaving an eerie quiet in her wake. The digital clock on the wall flickered. 11:17 p.m. It seemed like forever until daybreak. Marcus broke the silence. "Promise me you'll call me if you feel like you can't handle it." His voice broke. Nessa grabbed his hand and reached across the table. "I promise. Promise me you'll stick beside me." He clutched her fingers, eyes gleaming. "Always." Evelyn observed them. Every line of her face was filled with regret. She cleared her throat. She whispered, "I know I can't undo what happened on set, but allow me to assist you in picking up the pieces." Vanessa nodded as her eyes began to well up. She said, "I need friends, not drama. I'm grateful for this." Meanwhile, back on the main stage, Jackie found herself pacing near the lighting grid. Producers tried to coax her back for a final shot, but she refused. Her phone buzzed nonstop. DMs, tweets, texts pushing her to write a statement. She sank into a director's chair, head in her hands. A text from Vanessa glowed on her screen. "I appreciate you sticking by me. Can we discuss this tomorrow?" With tears in her eyes, Jackie typed, "Always." The studio was getting ready to start filming a new segment as the sun rose over the city skyline. Overnight, social media took off. Vanessa's confession gifts, clips of the paternity twist, fan theories about the mystery stranger. Network executives pored over engagement metrics with eager anticipation. Sponsors buzzed about ad spots, excited by the record-breaking views predicted for the impending DNA reveal. In the private room, Vanessa napped against Marcus's shoulder. Evelyn sat close, checking notes on her phone, organizing an apology, video, and a philanthropic statement to shift the narrative. She hesitated, contemplating the narrow line between empathy and exploitation. She promised to be honest and urged the audience to choose self-love over sensationalism. The silence was broken by the technician's phone chiming softly. The outcomes were prepared. Hearts pounding, Marcus and Vanessa sat up. They exchanged a look that conveyed hope and terror in equal measure. The technician entered the space, carrying a sealed packet. "I have your results," she said. Her soothing voice contrasted with a thumping in their chests. Marcus nodded gently and passed the envelope across the table to Vanessa. She paused, holding her breath, and then broke the seal. Her gaze swept over the page. Her face broke down in tears as relief and guilt overcame her. "Tim," she whispered, voice heavy. Our son Marcus breathed, relief flooding his features. He grabbed her and held her in a tender embrace. Vanessa buried her face in his shoulder and sobbed. Her tears were a mixture of regret and happiness. Evelyn stared, heart pumping. The moment was fresh and unfiltered, a truth stronger than a screenplay. The scene in the lounge that followed seemed to be stuck in time. The world waited outside, Once more, cameras were rolling to record Vanessa's response for the finale. There was an option for the network. Either keep playing up the drama or let a true moment of redemption come through. Vanessa pulled back, wiped her cheeks, and peered past the technician into the lens. "Voice firm," she began, taking a trembling breath. "I lied out of fear, but now I chose honesty. I choose to love myself and my son." With that, the boundaries between performance and reality blurred once more. Jackie sat in her trailer, ready to forgive and support Vanessa and Marcus, as they were ready to go back to the set to tell the truth. Fans were captivated, emotions were running high, and the family, despite their fractures, started a precarious path to recovery. Every step, every tear, every heartbeat was recorded by the cameras that followed. Because in this world of reality and illusion, sometimes the hardest moments are also the most real. A dot. The maelstrom of secrets, betrayals, searing admissions has left Jackie, Vanessa, Marcus, and Evelyn standing at a crossroads that no screenplay could have properly prepared them for. What began as a stage confrontation exploded into an unfiltered revelation of Vanessa's hidden motherhood, a paternity test gone airy, and the discovery of a mysterious stranger who may hold the key to her child's true lineage. Loyalties were tested, friendships trembled on the brink, and every tear shed under those blinding studio lights felt as real as any moment you've ever lived. As the dust settles, are still questions echoing in the silence. Will Vanessa find the stranger who shared those stolen moments of lullabies and late-night whispers? Can Jackie and Marcus forgive the betrayals and rebuild the trust that shattered in the spotlight? And what price will fame demand now that the world has glimpsed the deepest fears of those we thought we knew? The future hangs in the balance, and only time will reveal whether this fractured family can embrace honesty over headlines. Over headlines, it's your turn to comment now. What should Vanessa do next, in your opinion? Either concentrate on mending the ties she has severed, or look for the unknown man who held her son. Is Jackie going to extend forgiveness? Or will anger hold her captive? Share your thoughts in the comments below and let us know which theory you believe will unfold in the next dramatic twist. If you've been riveted by every tear, every confession, and every shocking reveal, hit that like button to show your support. Don't forget to subscribe and ring the notification bell so you won't miss a single heartbeat of this developing tale. Your voice matters amid the turmoil of reality and illusion. Join the conversation. Stand by your favorites and brace for whatever explosive truth comes next. Since every secret is kept here has a cost, and each discovery is simply the